What's up, guys and gals? My name is Eclepid, and welcome back to Remember11. When we last left off, it's been a few days and my brain is toast, so we'll figure out what happened when we get back in. Chain link spiral. Oh yes, that's right. We're back at Svea. I was at Svea. I was in the living room, sprawled out on the sofa. Uni was sitting right beside me, got up and returned to his room with light steps. Then, as if trading places with them, Utsumi came out of her room. She walked toward the kitchen. A moment later, I could hear the sound of water running. I turned my head to look, and Utsumi was washing the dishes. Hotori wasn't around. Sorry about that. Trying to make sure my OBS is open. Yeah, it's all good. Go right there. Cool. If you're watching, welcome. Welcome again, chat. She might be sleeping in her room. Utsumi answered without turning her head. Oh yeah, she's gonna say 2012, 100%, guarantee it. Utsumi came to a sudden halt. She slowly turned in my direction. For some reason, her laugh seemed odd. I wonder what's wrong. Oh fuck. Oh my gosh, that's odd. What? Is this what? Okay, somebody told me I was overlooking something. Is this what I'm overlooking? I'm definitely over. Well, whatever it is. I assume we'll figure it out, although I'm usually on top of things, so it's weird for me to miss something like this. I don't think I usually overlook things. Because it's clearly 2011. Back in the cabin. It's clearly 2011 back in the cabin. But then here... I don't know. She's gonna say 2012. If she says 2011, something's weird. Why would Yukido ask what year it was? He's the one who told us we were wrong. Yeah, of course. Her reply startled me. I called this right from the start. I began to feel less sure of what I thought. I'll try asking someone else. Going to Hotori's room, I found her in bed. And just before, or in other words, one transfer ago, she had been acting quite deranged. However, it seemed she had calmed down completely since then. Seeing me, she roused herself. Still in bed, she tilted her head and stared at me. As if puzzled, she inclined her head doubtfully against the pillow, and then she hesitantly made a peace sign. Hotori continued to wait in that position. She's putting up two fingers for 2012. Nodding, then she made a circle with her thumb and index finger. 0. Then finally, raising up both hands, she raised only her index finger up on each. 11. What? Whoa. What? Excuse me? What the fuck? Okay, now I'm seriously spooked. What in the fuck is going on? I was so sure. I was so sure that Svea was a year in the future and we were a year in the back. Why'd Utsumi say 2012 and why'd Hotori say 2011? Hotori could still be stuck in the past, but I don't think so. I was gonna say because her personality split off from herself, but she hasn't. She's been in here longer than a year. Those murders happened more than a year ago. So it's not like her personality is stuck in the past year per se. I was getting more and more confused. Which one of them is right? What the fuck? I left the room. Just as I returned to the living area, Uni also entered. Oh shit. I don't know what he's gonna say, but I have a bad feeling about this. In his hands was a small portable radio?
Uni,
he had an exasperated expression on his face. Again means Uni probably got asked the same question by Satoru.
11年だってば。2011年なのね。そうだよ。一体何なの？なんでもない。
Now it's clear. It's not something that was determined by majority rule. But the answer I got most often was 2011. Yeah, no. If somebody doesn't know the right year, there's obviously something fucky going around. Are you just gonna let that go? The only ones that said it was 2012 were Satoru and Utsumi. Everyone else said 2011. Yes, you're acting like it's phew, at least it's 2011, but two people said it was 2012. That's not something you blow off like this. What the fuck are you doing? So it must be the year 2011 after all. Uni's voice sounded slightly troubled. Wondering what was wrong, I watched as Uni randomly pressed switches on his portable radio. Putting the earphones, he tilted his head this way and that. Seems that the radio is broken. Let's fix it. I reached the radio in Uni's hand. Taking the radio from Uni, I prod at it, turning around to get a better look at it. I pushed various switches. But the radio remained quiet, not letting forth even a single word. In the first place, there's nothing displaying on the LCD screen. It had gone completely silent. Uni looked at me with an anxious expression. It says fucking radio on it. You fucking idiot. Uni's shoulders slumped in disappointment. When he says it so abruptly, it is kind of a shock. All girls are bad with machines, you know. Unable to take it anymore, I tossed the radio aside. I only meant to throw it lightly, but due to its weight, it fell with more force than I thought it would. It made a loud noise as it hit the floor. At the moment of impact, a piece flew off the radio. I thought it had broken, but it seems that it was only the cover of the battery compartment had fallen off. Only to discover there's no fucking batteries in it. Uni let out a shout of surprise as he picked up the radio. See? No, I didn't pick for us to try to fix it because I thought we'd be able to fix it. I just figured Uni would be too much of an idiot to figure it out. That maybe with us, something stupid would happen. Like this. Utsumi brought us some new batteries, and upon inserting them, the radio immediately came to life. The reception was bad, but voices could definitely be heard through the static.
いやー、今年も残すところあと352日ですね。
2012 is a leap year, right? 2012 has 366 days. And what day is today? Does it say? What day is it? Do I have to look back? I'm gonna quick check. I'm gonna pull up the video on my phone from last time and see when it changed days, what day it said. Contrary to popular belief, the day is not something I keep track of on like the back of my hand. When did we change days anyway? How long ago was it? Feels like we've been going on for days. I can't figure out where in this video we changed days. I'm not gonna bother. The first day is 11th of January. Are we on the third or the second day? Is my question. I don't know. If there were 352 days left in the year, and it was 2011, and it's the third day, then that means it's the 13th, and 52 plus 13 equals 65, so that would match up with it being 2011, and not 2012. Yeah, even if it's the third day, there are 252 days left. We're 13 days through. I'm not doing my math wrong, am I? 13 plus 52 equals 65?
何言ってるんですか、小林さん。まだ2011年始まったばかりじゃないですか。
Oh, there we go. This is all recording. We're trapped in some. This is a plant that's being. We're inside of an experiment. I'm telling you. This is some experiment that they're tricking us into thinking it's 1 year when it's not. It's another year. And to be let it slip. They're reenacting 2011 for whatever reason. Is that what's going on? $2011. I'm sure the DJ on the radio said 2011 just now. But did they really? Did they say it just now, or did they say it a year ago, and it's being replayed, rebroadcasted back to us again, so that only we can hear it, to trick us into thinking it's 2011. You need twisted the tuning knob.
今年は2011年うさぎ年です。このうさぎ年にちなんで名古屋の栄ではバニーガールのキャンペーンが行われており、大勢の人で。
そういえば今年で地上波アナログ放送が廃止になりますね。計画当初は2011年には不可能だとの声もありましたが、思ったよりもデジタルへの移行はスムーズにいったようです。10年前にはデジタル対応のテレビって100万円以上したんですよ。信じられます？
Union continued to fiddle with the tuning knob, skipping it from station to station. It seemed he was looking for a program he liked.
といったわけで、太陽風は11年周期で強くなったり弱くなったりするのです。そして今年2011年はちょうどその当たり年でありまして。
They're saying 2011 too many times for it to be actually legit. It's not 2011. I don't believe this shit.
地球の周回軌道上にあるさまざまな衛星が太陽風の影響によりちょっとしたトラブルを起こしているわけです。
What's up, Juice? We're currently trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with these people. With people thinking it's 2012 and so Utsumi says it's 2012. Everybody else says it's 2011. And fucking Satoru says it's 2012. And Kokoro's like, oh, majority of people said it's 2011, so it must be 2011. Everything's fine. Anybody who doesn't know what year it is has brain damage. Or they've been living under a rock. Not knowing the year is... And insisting the year is a year it's not, is not something that can be easily overlooked. I think she's an idiot. Actually, I know she's an idiot. I still think this whole thing it's a setup. It's actually 2012. They're setting up, pretending like it's 2011. To somehow redo 2011 so it turns out differently. To trick... Not knowing what current year it is would get you into a medical treatment facility. Oh. So what you're saying is... Uni and Kokoro both... Okay, maybe it is 2012 and those two are just crazy idiots. Well, not crazy, but like... brain damaged mentally. Not like actually physically brain damaged, but like emotionally. You know what I'm saying.
わかりましたか?
No matter what program he switches to, they're talking about the year 2011. It's too convenient. I don't believe it. There's no way it can be 2012. Uni switched off the radio. I sank deep into the sofa. Satoru and Utsumi both have it wrong. But those two don't seem like the kind of people to make that kind of mistake, so why? My sight rests on a large TV. What about the TV? Timidly, I tried turning on the power. DID wouldn't have you get the years wrong. I'm like 100,000% sure about that. Even if you have DID, you're not gonna get fucking years wrong. And the first thing I saw was a scenic shot of the mountains. No way, are they going to show Mount Akakura, I thought, as I brought my face closer to the screen. But that was wrong. It was the Jungfrau of Switzerland. I had seen a photo of it before, a cute little train running along a mountain through budding greenery. I changed the channel. This time it's an ocean scene. A dolphin cuts through the water, swimming at incredible speed. The woods, a large tree with a width over 10 meters is on screen. One might say it's 11. Sunshine shines from between the trees and the leaves sway in the wind. I gave up on the TV, deciding instead to engross myself in thinking. Why did Satoru and Utsumi say this year was 2012? Then for argument's sake, let's say this is the year 2012, and the problem with the newspaper would be resolved. Someone visited the shelter cabin holding a July 2011 issue of the newspaper. The newspaper had a printed obituary for the deceased who died in that very cabin though, so it was in rather bad taste. If that someone had left it there, then it would be at least consistent. I went to the crash site with Yomogi. There was a fresh scar on the earth from the incident. In no way did it seem that a full year had passed. There's no mistaking it. In the first place, I had gotten on the plane in the year 2011 with Kanai as my destination. If this is the year 2012, where did the blank 1 year period go? Besides, it was only 2 people died for whatever dumb reason said this was the year 2012. Just Satoru and Utsumi. Other than them, everyone was saying it was the year 2011. Why don't you talk to Utsumi and show her the radio? Even on the radio. They had informed us that it was the year 2011 on public airways. Public airways! If they were wrong, there'd probably be a huge problem. When I suddenly turned back into reality, Uni was singing a song. Oh my gosh, not this song. What, is he singing about us? Fucking metaphor. Something I see is not what I think I'm seeing. Man, don't you love people that just drop spoilers? Well, not actual spoilers, but like tease you by saying things. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I should be figuring this out. I feel like I should be figuring this out. Suddenly remember something. I smile at Uni. When I was feeling down in the shelter cabin, Uni's kindness when he had hugged me with the teddy bear had left a deep impression on my heart. I wanted to thank him just once. However, Uni just stared at me suspiciously. Maybe he doesn't understand because my body is Satoru's right now.
TV を触らせてあげたことなんてないよ。もちろん心にもね。
I hung my head in frustration at this turn of events. I lightly bit my lip. Again, the things we're saying don't match up. Was my theory that Uni was transferring along with me was wrong after all? If so, why does Uni exist in both worlds at the same time? I think that's what it said. Oh, why does Uni exist both here and there? Who is this Uni? Ah, yet another riddle. My head begins to hurt. I'm confused. I don't want to think anymore. I tried putting my hand on my forehead. Feels like I have a slate fever. Sorry, I'm still here. People are just being loud again. But I think my noise gate on my mic is keeping all the loud stuff out. Without saying anything to Uni, I walked to Satoru's room with heavy steps. As I locked the door, I sighed. I looked for a reply from Satoru. I could only rely on him now. I searched the top of the desk. The note from last time was there, but there wasn't anything new. Thinking that it might have fallen onto the bed or the floor, I tried searching for it, but it was useless. I tried shouting, but there was no way I would hear Satoru's voice answer me. I slumped face down onto the bed. I pulled a blanket over my head. Enough already. Somebody save me. I'm just a girl. If you throw such an impossible situation at me, there's no way I could bear it, is there? My feelings became so strong that even I couldn't control them. Tears well up in my eyes. What I'd been holding back until now all burst out at once. Why did something like this have to happen? Why? 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 Oh, switch time. Excuse me for 1 second. Can you guys hear me okay? Alright, cool. YouTube was freaking out. On the contrary, everything around me underwent a complete change. I was standing on the dark snowfield. In front of me was the door to a shelter cabin. My body was frozen through and through. Gusts of biting cold wind tore through me. In that bitter cold, I took leave of my senses. It was more than I could bear, and I made it for the shelter cabin, almost falling in the door.
Yukido-kun, どこに行ってたんだ?
Yomogi, who was in front of the stove, got up.
突然飛び出してくから心配したぞ。また発作が出たんじゃないか。
Yuni drew near and felt my coat. Sorry, people are being loud again.
うわ、靴もびしょびしょ。一人で雪遊びでもしてたの？私にもよくわからないんだけど。
その喋り方、湯川さんか。濡れてるのか。それはまずい。
Yomogi forcibly sat me down before the stove.
濡れてるものは脱ぐんだ。特に足の指や手を温めて。
Confused by the strength of my tone, I nevertheless took off my
しっ
shoes.
かりマッサージするようにな。濡れたまま放っておけば、まず間違いなく凍傷になる。
凍傷？
ああ、よくて指、悪けりゃ足を失う羽目になる。
I took off my wet coat and hung it by the window. The snow on it began to melt, the water dripping to the floor. After holding my feet out toward the fire, I hastily began to massage them.
僕も手伝ってあげるよ。
Yuni's small hands rubbed my feet.
ありがとう。
Gradually, I felt the blood return to my frozen feet, along with the sensation like an itch.
ストーブの火を強めるか。
Yomogi brought over more firewood. Sounds like burn the place down and catch it on fire. I don't know why we'd need more, honestly. It's fine.
大丈夫です。そのままでいいです。
だけど、
平気です。薪は節約して使わないと。
I bravely pretended to be tough and forced a smile to my face. The ends of my limbs had gone numb due to the cold, but I can't burden the others that way.
そうか。わかったよ。
Nonetheless, with the heat of the stove so weak, the feeling that didn't return to my hands and feet at all.
もうお茶のパックがないんだ。出がらしで済まないね。
Yomogi had made some chamomile tea. Since he had just thrown a tea bag into the cup, it was a bit weak, but there was no substitute for that warmth. Just as I had gotten comfortable, Yuni asked me a question.
ねえ、何してたの？心配したんだよ。
まったくだ。外に出るときは一言声をかけてくれよ。
すみません。私じゃなくて、サトルが出て行ったみたいで。
有機道くんが。
As if he wanted to apologize, Yomogi scratched his head. Then he heaved a sigh as if giving up.
それじゃあ彼に会ったら伝えとくよ。
お願いします。
Somehow it comes out like an apology to him. Because of the personality exchange, I'm a big burden to everyone here in the shelter cabin. Maizumi's inactivity is especially remarkable. She's been staying curled up in bed as if exhausted for some time now, but whenever Satoru's name comes up, she glares at whoever said it with a mix of rage and sorrow. I don't know what their relationship is, but I don't think it's wrong to say that it's really making her really upset. No, what if What if Sphia is the past and this is this is the present? What if we had it opposite? I know that doesn't make much sense, but it's just a thought I had. I don't know about 2010. Perhaps it might be. Perhaps I still think this is somehow all set up, because the way you look at it, I have my years all frightened out. I don't know, 2010, 2013, a year's a year. The cabin might be a year ahead of Sphia. Perhaps whoever set up this whole thing. Oh, but then the Uni and Sphia recognized or acknowledged having known Kokoro, and they all know. They know of the plane crash, so the plane crash can't have happened after Sphia. That wouldn't make sense. I know it's not all happening simultaneously, I can tell you that much. Anyway, I can't do too much about it. While I sat beside the stove, Yomugi was trying to get the satellite phone to work. He's clinging to the possibility that it will completely by chance connect.
ダメか。
つながらないの？
Nodding, Yomugi turned the phone off.
電話さえつながれば。
I still also haven't ruled out the possibility that Kokoro does have DID, and this whole Satoru thing is... or some mental disorder, and what's happening at Sphia isn't actually real. You'll have to, excuse me for not believing 100% into this bullshit mind switching. Just gonna say that all of their games, all of Uchikoshi's games have been consistent in one way, and that's no random magic. Everything actually explainable. No magic bullshit. And this would probably fall under magic bullshit, in my opinion. If I remember correctly, according to the newspaper, the probability of getting through is around 1,000,000 to 1. Even if we kept making a good phone call once every second for 24 hours, a good connection would only occur once in about 11.5 days. Really, I guess it's impossible. Feeling restored, I moved from the stove to the bed. What was Satoru doing outside? I thought he might have left behind a note. I took out the voice recorder and switched it on. There are messages on it. Data 1 and Data 2. First I played back Data 1.
サトルだ。まずはどうでもいいことから話す。君の要望はできるだけ聞くつもりだ。俺たちはパートナーだからな。だがしかしだ。腕時計をつけるという要望だけは受け入れるわけにはいかない。
I looked at my right arm. My watch wasn't there. It wasn't in my pocket either.
また？もうなんでよ。腕時計ぐらいはめとけばいいじゃない。腕に何かついてるとなんだか落ち着かないんだよ。ちなみに俺はブレスレットとかもダメ。何がちなみによ。そもそもだな。腕に時計をはめるという習慣自体に俺は疑問を感じるね。
Especially ones with the years on them.
紳士というのは懐中時計を持ってるものだろ。まあ懐中時計のデザインは気に入ったものがないし、機能的に劣るんでやむなく腕時計を持ち歩いてるんだが、ジェントルマンの心意気は大事にしたいと思わないか？思わない。っていうか、その理論どっかおかしいし。
Satoru is the type who's unsatisfied if he doesn't rationalize anything and everything. I do too. I do like the tone. I like the voice acting in this. Man, he's the kind of person I just don't get along with.
腕時計協会に訴えられてもこの気持ちは変わらない。そんなわけで腕時計をつけろという要望については却下させてもらうよ。
That one ended there.
Before playing Data 2, I decided to look for my watch. It's not in my pocket. Should I talk like this every time I go over to Satoru? Because I have a deeper voice, I'll do that.
It's not on the bunk bed ladder either. Not on the bunk bed either, and not on the table either. It wasn't around the neck of the teddy bear either. Damn it, where did you put it? It's my favorite watch too. If you lost it, I'll make you regret it. I'll make you regret it for the rest of your life. No, I'm not using a higher pitched voice now. I'll go lower, but I won't go higher. I am the protagonist. I am inserting myself into the protagonist, and I refuse to change my voice to fit the protagonist. So the protagonist will just have to sound like me. You get it? And by the way, Kokoro, your watch is out in the fucking snow. That's why he went outside. He went outside to toss your snow, or toss your watch out there. As I paced nervously around the cabin like that,
どうしたんだい？
Yomogi asked, completely puzzled.
ないんです。
Nine.
ですよ。
Yes, I'm inserting into Kokoro.
ない？
ここにもない。あっこにもない。そこにもない。
Okay, Maria. Okay, Maria, we'll find your rose.
サトルのバカ。なくしちゃったじゃない。どう責任取ってくれるのよ。
なあ、冬川さん？なくしたっていうのは腕時計のことかい？
よもぎさん知ってるの？
ああ。
どこなの？
I came up right up to Yomogi. I grabbed him by the collar and shook him.
落ち着け。落ち着いてくれ。これじゃ話。
Panicking, I let go of Yomogi's neck.
ごめんなさい。
いや、いいんだ。
時計はどこに？
多分。
While talking, Yomogi reached his hand in his
これ
pocket.
のことだ。
私の時計。
What he took out was none other than my beloved wristwatch, but it's broken, isn't it?
なんでよもぎさんが持ってるの？
Or no? I asked as I took the watch.
僕に聞かれたってわからないよ。何せ君が、あの時は有機堂くんだったかな。有機堂くんが預かってくれっていうものだと。僕にだってさっぱりさ。彼は何も聞かずに頼むように。
What?
彼に聞いた方が早いんじゃないかい？
いえ、いいんです。
え、そうなのかい？
As I put the watch back on, I went over to the bed. It's like Satoru wants to make sure I don't have the watch on. Like he's stubbornly trying to get rid of it. The hiding places are gradually getting more elaborate. That's why he handed it over to Yomogi. He thought I wouldn't find it. Damn it, if it's going to be that way, I'll get stubborn too. Just as stubbornly, I'll keep putting it back on. Whenever you hide it, I'm gonna find it. Having forged this decision, I sat down on the bed.
さて、
I retrieved the voice recorder. Then I played Data 2. What kind of message will be next?
さて、本題に入ろう。前回の続きだ。今年が何年かというも、俺は前のメッセージでこう言ったよな。心のいる世界は1年後の2012年なんだって。
So he said. That was Satoru's
で
misunderstanding.
も、それは正確な言い方じゃなかった。
Okay?
あの時は気が動転してて忘れちまってたんだよ。
Yeah.
心がボイスレコーダーを聞くことのできる場所はこの避難小屋に限られているって。
What?
そんな当たり前のことに気づかなかったんだ。
I don't understand. What is Satoru trying to say?
あの時俺の言った心のいる世界とは避難小屋のことを言ったんじゃない。 今現在ここにいる俺を基準としての心のいる世界、つまりスフィアのことを言ったんだ。わかるか？どういうこと？
I listened carefully to the recorder.
単刀直入に言うとこういうことになる。スフィアのある世界が2012年、避難小屋のある世界が2011年。
Okay, that's what I thought.
俺と心の意識は空間を移動すると同時に時間も
Yes, this was my hypothesis from the very beginning.
飛び越えているんだ。俺たちが陥っているのは単なる人格交換現象じゃない。人格交換とさらに時間跳躍が加わった極めて特殊な転移現象なんだよ。
And I'm still spooked again, so I keep looking through the back of looking behind me. What does this mean? It's not a personality exchange, but also a time jump? The personality exchange on its own is hard enough to believe, though I've realized I have no choice but to believe it. And not only that, but a time slip is taking place? Come on. Well, I got that from the very beginning. It wasn't that hard. Really, come on now.
と言ってもお前はきっと信じてくれないだろうな。どう説明すればいいんだろう。とにかくこれは事実なんだ。スフィアは2012年、避難小屋は2011年。俺と心は2つの異なった時間、空間、肉体の間をぐるぐるぐるぐると入れ替わり続けてるんだ。どうしてそんなことが。
Say this with such certainty, I tried to say.
ああ、今お前はどうしてそんなことが断言できるんだってそう思ったな。答えは簡単だ。俺が2012年の住人だからだよ。つまり俺はお前にとっては未来の人間ということになる。だから俺はこの避難小屋が2011年だってことを知ってるんだ。18便が墜落したのは俺にとっては去年のことだから。これでもまだ信じてもらえないかな。仕方がない。それじゃあユニのことを教えよう。
Thank you, finally.
昨日のスフィアでのメッセージにお前はこう書いたよな。だってそうじゃなければユニが同時に2人も存在することを説明できないって。同時に心はそう書いた。でもな、本当は同時なんかじゃないんだ。
Is this really supposed to be surprising? Like, was I not supposed to have figured this out from the very, like, start of the game? They're making this seem like this is some type of reveal, but it's a huge letdown for me because I'm like, I already know all of this.
片方のユニは2011年のユニ、もう片方のユニは2012年のユニなんだよ。
Please tell me this is actually as obvious from the very beginning.
時間軸上の異なったポイントに同一人物がいたとしても別に不思議ではないだろう。っていうか当たり前のことだよな。未来にも過去にもユニがいるのは当然のことだ。そうか、なるほど。
I suddenly started believing what Satoru told me, because if it's true, then lots of things start to make sense. Uni, what Unsumi said. Wait, but Satoru's message continues. I laid my thoughts aside for the time being and carefully listened to his words.
でもな、ここからが一筋縄ではいかない。
What? Then he paused for a while. He didn't resume speaking. Did something happen?
すまない、心。
The voice I heard at last was, for some reason, a rather subdued one.
どうしたのサトル。なんというか今、いやこのことは後で教えるよ。
What?
ひとまずメッセージは以上だ。ちょっと待ってよ。まだ話は途中じゃない。勝手に打ち切らないでよ。
I complained to the voice recorder. Of course, I know it's meaningless.
ああ、待った。大事なことを伝え忘れるところだった。
Something important?
いいか、心。スフィアでは今後一切食べ物を口にしないでくれ。
Oh, dear God.
は？これはお願いじゃない。言い方は悪いけど命令だ。詳しいことは今度説明する。 とにかく一口でも何かを食べたら命はないと思ってくれ。
Jeez.
じゃあ頼んだぞ。
Do you have food saved somewhere? And there the message ended. I turned off the recorder. I leaned against the wall. We're coming and going back and forth between the years 2011 and 2012. That was the blind spot. The double existence of Uni was a big mystery. They weren't twins, and furthermore they had the same memory. I couldn't imagine anything but that we were transferring at the same time. If you consider a time slip, then the problem is settled. After all, the two unis were respectively the uni of the past and the uni of the future. I admired that smart solution.
赤倉岳は2011年、スフィアは2012年。
According to Satoru, I, thinking of this year as 2011, am in the shelter cabin, and Satoru, who since it's 2012, is in Svea. But then how did the newspaper get here? I nodded in agreement. But something wasn't right. This is the same unease I felt earlier.
あれ、どっかおかしい。
As I thought, it hits me. The newspaper. The date on the newspaper was July 4th, 2011. I see, I'm too good. If the time at the shelter cabin is 2012, there would be no contradiction in that newspaper being there. What? There still would be. There still would be because it showed all of us being dead. Are you seriously saying this right now? However, if we say that the date at the shelter cabin is July 13th, 2011, it's strange. Newspaper Okay, no. Because first off, they could just... It would make more sense if it was that. Because it wouldn't be a newspaper from the future. It would be somebody putting a newspaper there, just fucking with the people stranded there. That you could explain. You can't explain it being 2012 and seeing an article about yourself being dead from a year behind. And moreover, the radio. The radio I heard in Svea said the year was 2011.
どうして？まさか避難小屋が2012年でスフィアが2011年。
And this is what I said. This is what I was like. You know, thinking about it, maybe it's the other way around. It's like we've followed the same exact time progression. I believe that it solves the problems of the newspaper and the radio. But if that's the case, it brings up other contradictions. Outside the shelter cabin is the fresh crash site. In 2012, the crash site could also
そ
exist.
の矛盾を回避するためには
What if the airplane we boarded somehow jumped to 2012 during the flight, then crashed? No, fuck off. Then if I, in the shelter cabin of 2012 and Satoru in Svea of 2011 began the personality exchange. With this reasoning, the contradictions of the radio I heard in Svea reporting that it was still 2011, there was being a fresh crash site on Mount Akakuro in 2012 are resolved. But the people in Svea know about the plane crash. It can't be 2012 in the cabin, it's 2011 in Svea. But
それじゃあ新聞の説明がつかないよ。
yes, it still doesn't fit. If the plane crashed on Mount Akakura in 2011, the article dated July 4th, 2011 couldn't have possibly been published. Union Sphere? Union Sphere is obviously hiding something. Pretending like he doesn't know shit, but he does. Besides, the explanation works if I'm thinking it's 2011, but doesn't work if Satoru is thinking that it's 2012. Closing my closet door because it was open a crack, and I keep looking over thinking people are hiding in it.
気持ちが
As I thought about another possibility, I suddenly realized it.
ひょっとして私が転院してるのは避難小屋もスフィアも両方とも2011年でサトルが転院してるのは両方とも2012年なんじゃない？
Wait. Hold on. Wait a second. I didn't think about that. Alright, so it's like... We're jumping to the Sazuru of 2011. And Sazuru's jumping to us of 2012? Why are we still here for an entire year? That doesn't make sense either. He could not be jumping to us in 2012 because us in 2012 would not be still stuck on this fucking cabin. We'd be dead. And on top of that again, we'd have the issue of we jumped to the Sazuru of 2011 at the same time. Although that might make more sense. Uni's there, which would mean he'd be simultaneously existing in two places at once again. If that's so, it accounts for how I feel this is 11, but Satoru thinks it's 2012. Utsumi also said it was 2012. So, that... there are people that are hiding things. Is more likely. If I don't exchange personalities with the Satoru of 2012, we wouldn't get in a dispute over the... We wouldn't get in a dispute over the problem of what year this is. Whoever did the translation is massively fucking up the tenses. It's going from past to present, and present to past tense, and it's annoying me. Besides, if it turns out I'm going back and forth in 2011, the contradiction of... I brooded over it. I thought there being a gap between the dates was a good idea, but in practice it doesn't seem so simple. I'm hopeless at puzzles. Even a small one is agony and makes me want to give up. Even for university research, I like keeping careful observations, but when the time comes to write a paper on it and lay out all the reasoning, I end up writhing in agony. When I read detective novels, I leave everything to the tale's investigator and don't reason or anything. But right now, there is no detective that will solve the puzzle for me. This is happening to me right now. Come to think of it, I recalled Satoru's last words. At Sphia, from now on, don't eat any of the food. Anyhow, if you take a bite of anything, consider your life over. My life? Then in other words, there means it's likely there is a possibility I'll be served poison? I inputted that in my corner of my memory. Still leaning in the wall, my thought kept going in random circles. Isn't there a second data? Did we not listen to that? We have to listen to data 2. Did we listen to both of them? There was data 1 and data 2. Hello? Well, it's too late now. New life. I suddenly found myself lying up, face up in bed. Another transfer, another day, another dollar. Okay, we did listen to both. Cool. They're happening a lot more frequently today. If these transfers continue to go on like this, I might really go crazy. I thought self-derisively. My throat was dry, so I unsteadily left the room to get a drink. In the kitchen, I found Uni peeking inside the fridge. Rushing over, he pulls on my arm. Now that you mention it, or rather Satoru's body, is hungry too. I looked around the interior of the living area. Satoru was just standing there absent-mindedly. For some reason, she was looking around the area restlessly. Was she looking for someone? For something? Utsumi was nowhere to be seen. Pouring some water into a cup, I downed in one gulp. From the large window in the living area, I could only see the darkness of a pitch-black night. What's she doing out there at this hour? Uni's lips curved in a pout. Utsumi's a good person, but it's not as if I completely trust her. Someone's after Satoru's life. Because we don't know anything more than about the culprit. Everyone is under suspicion. I couldn't ignore any unusual behavior. I returned to my room and put on my coat and then went outside. The weather out there was freezing cold. For someone to go out in the midst of such cold is really quite suspicious. I tried calling out. There was no answer. I hesitated, wondering whether I should go on searching for her. What if Utsumi was actually the culprit? My surroundings were engulfed in darkness, and it'd be quite easy for her to catch me off guard. I don't really want to consider that, though. What should I do? You know, I've had a lot of struggles with, or not many struggles actually. I've not struggled that much choosing choices here, but fuck. I feel like if we're making the safest decisions, waiting here is the safest thing to do. I feel like searching for her could go wrong. But I also feel like we need to search for her. There's a reason why we saved. Try waiting in front of the entrance for the time being. Sooner or later she'll come back on her own. Curling up to keep warm, I gazed off far into the distance. But it was too much cold. It was too cold to sit still and wait here like this. Even while standing, the cold manages to creep in from under my feet and chill me to the core. I concluded that it'd be the same weather I waited for inside or outside. However, since I'd gone until uni that I'd go out and search for her, I couldn't really return without Utsumi along with me. Obstinately, I continued to stand there. 10 minutes had probably passed. Oh no, what's... Sweat? Oh dear. Oh, that startled me. Utsumi returned, her steps light like the clouds of summer.
内海さん、
あら、どうしたの？
どこに行ってたんですか？
ちょっとね、お星様にお祈りしてたの。
I kind of want to go back and see what would happen if I chose the other option. And I've not done that at all yet. So maybe I will do that now. Just because I'm interested. I figured. Unless you guys think I should just stick with this. What do you guys think? Do I just stick with this, or do I go back and see? Is it cheating to go and see the other side? I mean, I know it's up to me, but what would you do? You know what, I think I have to stick with... I feel like I have to... No, not cheating, okay. I was gonna say I feel like I have to stick with what I commit to, but I'm going back to that. I'm going to go for wait here. I'm going to continue with that regardless of what happens. I think this is a bad ending though. Even if that happens, I can't just leave Utsumi alone. She may have just gone for a walk and ended up losing her way. Am I too soft-hearted? Thinking that, I started walking deeper into the darkness. By the stroke of fortune, I found Utsumi right away. If you step out of the institution's entrance and head left, you'll come to a hill. I say hill, but it was really more of a modest mound about 5 meters in height. Utsumi was standing at its peak. It was a magical scene. Both her arms extended to the night sky. It was as if Utsumi were a goddess bathed in moonlight. If her body started floating up right now, flying up to the sky like that, I wouldn't be too surprised. Unintentionally swallowing, I hesitantly called out. And then possibly, because she'd noticed my footsteps, Utsumi turned her head. I somehow felt a little awkward.
何してるんですか?
Utsumi answered with an extremely cheerful smile.
明日ね、息子の誕生日なのよ。
So Utsumi had a child. But I hadn't seen anyone like that at Sphia. Can't be that Uni is Utsumi's child or something ridiculous like that.
そうなんですか。 おめでとうございます。
ありがとう。
なんてお名前なんですか？
純一っていうのよ。
Where the fuck did I hear that? Where the fuck? I've heard that name before. Where the fuck did I hear that? Usumi took out a folder from her breast pocket. It seemed she was going to show me. I struggled a bit to climb the hill, and standing by Utsumi's side, I took a peek at her photograph. The picture was of a boy who looked slightly mischievous. Was his age around the same as Uni's? Looking at the camera, his entire face was lit by a smile, and he was making the V sign.
すごくやんちゃで困ってるのよ。
Utsumi's face said that as if she was full of affection. It was the face of a mother.
でも兄弟ができてようやくお兄ちゃんらしくなったかしら。
Saying that, she shows me a different picture. It was a picture of a baby. This was probably taken a few months after birth.
へえ、かわいいですね。
そうでしょう。
Appearing truly happy, Utsumi gazed at the
い
photograph.
いでちゅか。お兄ちゃんにおめでとうって言いましょうね。
She spoke to the photograph using baby talk. She looked somehow pitiful. I finally knew what Utsumi had come here for. This is Svea. The specified psychiatric hospital for isolation and ages. Why was Utsumi here? Why weren't her children here with her? I think I could more or less figure it out now. That's why Utsumi was now praying for her children living somewhere far away. From somewhere even just a little bit higher. From a place just a little closer to the sky. Praying with all her heart for her children living underneath the same sky. It makes me want to pray too. That's what I thought. For them to be able to once again live together as a mother and child, even if for a second earlier. Afterward, when I called for Utsumi to return with me into the institution, she answered just a little bit longer and stayed. That's why I returned alone. I don't understand. Why was she here? Why weren't her children here with her? Kokoro can figure it out. I can't figure it out. Has she been institutionalized too for some reason? I don't think so. Ugh. Oh fuck. Alright, we're gonna quick load up 27.
明日ね。
Oh.
そうな、なんて
純一って。
Oh. Hold on.
でも
So, this looks like the same exact stuff,
いいでちゅ。
just in a different setting. Same dialogue, same everything. Just different music. I feel like going after it was the better idea, so I'm gonna go with that. That day at dinner time. Oh yeah, we were right here, that's right. Oh wait. Where were we? Did I save over? No. This is where I want to be, yes. One second. Alright. What do we do? I think this is like mind games. I'm gonna eat. Fuck it. For some reason, I had a hard time getting food down my throat. I must have been tired. To me, the food was neither good nor bad. It was an extremely dull dinner. Having finished my meal, I returned to my room. All the stress must have been getting to me. Oh, fuck. Was eating a bad idea? Should I not have? Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. No, 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 no. Well, this is what happens when you eat. We'll find out. I was awakened by a faint noise. I could hear the sound of firewood burning up. I opened my eyes. New fuel had been put into the stove. Like a tongue savoring a feast, an orange blaze dances in the mouth of the stove. This is the shelter cabin. It seems like I came back before I realized it. I roused myself. From the windows, the dazzling morning light is shining in. The hands of my beloved watch were pointing to 7. My Izumi seemed to still be asleep. I could hear her quiet breathing. Uni is sound asleep too. He was saying those sorts of predictable things in his sleep. With a wry smile, I got out of bed. They're sleeping well. So then what were those loud noises I heard before? I casually noticed that Yomugi's bed was empty. I tried touching the blankets. Where'd he go so early in the morning? He's chopping wood? Anxious, I peered out the window. I could see his figure in front of the cabin. Putting on a coat, I too went outside. Yomugi was standing still, bathing in the morning sun. He was doing nothing, just motionlessly standing and staring into the distance. With sorrow in his eyes, I hesitated to speak. I wonder how much time passed. Yomugi abruptly started talking. He was holding the compass Uni had been carrying. In a calm and very composed tone, Yomugi continued. How was it your fault that the plane crashed? Yomugi suddenly smiled wryly, a lonely smile. Wait, Junichi? That name, where have I... He clasped his hands together toward the direction of the place he saw as he said his son was resting. Standing next to him, I too clasped my hands. I closed my eyes and prayed for the happiness of Yomugi's son in the next world. I slowly opened my eyes. Yomugi slightly lowered his head. At that moment, from inside the shelter, we heard Uni talking in his sleep. Yomugi's face was lit by a fatherly smile. The fuck? The fuck is this shit? I thought I shouldn't be indiscreet, but I ended up asking instinctively. Yomugi took out a cigarette and lit it with the usual lighter. The smell of lighter fuel tickles my nose. While gazing toward the direction where his son rests, he started talking.
純一の誕生日が近づいててね。僕はあの子が欲しがってた新しい自転車を買ってあげることにしたんだ。純一は本当に喜んでいた。ありがとう。ありがとうお父さんって何度も礼を言ってたよ。
Yomogi exhaled cigarette smoke.
あんなに喜ぶとは思わなかったな。
The white smoke shone in the morning sun.
運動神経がいいのか、あの子は周りの子供たちの中では一番最初に補助輪が取れたんだ。ちょっと練習しただけでスイスイ自転車に乗れるようになって、まだ幼稚園の頃の話だよ。
Sensing the sadness in that proud voice, I
す
nodded.
ごいですね。
この子は僕よりもすごい登山家になるんじゃないかと確信したよ。それ以来ね、純一は自転車という乗り物に夢中になってしまったんだ。きっと友達の中で最初に補助輪が取れたっていうのがよっぽど嬉しかったんだろうな。だから僕はあの子が9つになった誕生日にギア付きのマウンテンバイクを買ってやって、だがその自転車が良くなかった。あんなものを買ってやらなきゃよかった。
Closing his eyes, he slowly shook his head. Regret filled his face.
新しい自転車にはしゃいだ純一は転んでしまったんだ。
まさかその事故で。
いや、足を単純骨折しただけ。頭を打ったかもしれないということで一応検査入院をすることになって、翌日には元気に戻ってくるはずだった。
Oh God! Yomogi opens his eyes and then looked at me. To me, it seemed he was holding down his anger by force.
そう、戻ってくるはずだったんだ。
Until somebody who now goes by the name of Hotre had something else to say about that.
でも純一はそのまま
Yomogi averts his eyes. Then he uttered only
殺
this.
されたんだ、病院で。
殺された？
ああ、
And then from his mouth came that name I knew so well.
犬伏恵子という女に。
My breath caught in my throat. Killed by Inubushi Keiko? The son of Yomogi, Junichi-kun, in an Aozumi Municipal Hospital by Inubushi Keiko? I tried to recall that file. Certainly among the victims there was an elementary school kid who would have been around Uni's age if alive. That was... An icy wind suddenly blew across the snowfield. Did I tremble because of that wind, or because of the truth I had just heard?
いや、違う。そうじゃない。僕が殺したんだ。間接的にね。僕があんなものプレゼントしなければよかったんだ。
He threw away his cigarette, crushing it in vexation.
それだけじゃない。あの子は一人で入院することを怖がってた。一日だけなんだから僕がついてあげていればよかったんだ。そうすれば、そうすれば。
Yomogi tramped on the cigarette many, many times, venting the anger he couldn't suppress many, many times. In the end, it seemed the waves of emotions overwhelmed him. His features began to change. This wasn't the Yomogi of just a little while ago, but surely the personified rage and despair of a parent who had killed his son. I was troubled over what I should say, and in the end all I could say were trite words. Even though I knew that no kind words would comfort him.
よもぎさんのせいじゃないですよ。
Was Yomogi ashamed that I had seen him angry? He stopped, and a fleeting smile crossed his face.
すまない。
And Yomogi muttered as if speaking to himself.
だからカリーともうまくいかなかったんだ。
Kali?
カーリ
Hearing the familiar name, I involuntarily asked
い
again.
や、僕の妻だよ。子供を溺愛していた妻はね、息子が殺された事実に耐えきれず、心を病んでしまった。
Are you serious?
僕も自分を責め続けていたから、二人ともおかしくなってしまったんだ。
What?
彼女は心の病気で入院してしまったが、
I don't know what's going on. What? But she was just standing outside there. As if her son was alive and that was a year in the future. What the fuck is going on? Are we in the future now? Is Via in 2011? Or is Via in 2011 and we're in 2012?
僕は今日の墓参り、それで病院に迎えに行こうとしてたんだが、でもこのありさまだ。
Sneering, Yomogi looked at the scenery, as though it were the situation he'd found himself in surrounding him. At the scenery of the shelter cabin shut away in the snow.
人生はままならないな。
The name Kali and at the hospital for mental illness, it made me feel uneasy. Though I hesitated at first, I asked
あ
him,
の、ひょっとして奥さんの名字って内海さんですか？
Yomogi opened his eyes in
そ
surprise.
の通りだが、どうして？ああ、そうか。あのファイルに書いてあったんだな。
Yomogi nodded, agreeing with himself. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? The truth is, I came across her in Sphia, but let's not go into that. I hesitated to burden Yomogi, who was still grieving for his son, with the story of the strange phenomenon.
名字が違うんですね。
ああ、結婚した当初はカーリーもヨモギの姓を名乗ってた。だけど、ほら、2008年に夫婦別姓が認められただろう。
はい。
I faintly recalled the talk I had with Uni about the dual
カ
surnames.
ーリーは精神的にも経済的にも自立した女性だった。だからその時、彼女にヨモギの姓を名乗らせ続けることを強要せず、どちらの姓にするかを選ばせたんだ。そして彼女は内海の姓に戻すことを選んだ。彼女はハーフなんだ。日本名である内海に愛着を持ってたのさ。
Yomogi slapped his face with both his hands.
さて、
Saying that, Yomogi sighed, picked up a handful of snow, and used it to wash his face, rubbing at it over and over again.
物資も相当厳しくなってきた。
Don't just fucking leave it at that.
すぐに尽きるだろう。
What is going on? We saw her, and she acted as if her son was still alive.
これからのことも話し合わないとな。暗い顔なんかしてる暇はないな。
よもぎさん。
小屋に戻ろう。体が冷える。
Yomogi pushed on my back and then entered the cabin. His expression had gone back to normal, like it was already nothing. But still, I caught sight of them, and small tears suspended in his eyes. The feeling you believe in. Returning to the cabin, Yomogi first took out the satellite phone and dialed somewhere. He most likely wanted to try it one more time in hopes that by some slight chance it would work. Muttering in annoyance, Yomogi lowered the phone. It didn't connect as I expected.
こうなればやむを得ないな。
Yomogi looked over his
みん
surroundings.
な集まってくれ。大事な話がある。
He said this with a serious face.
で、
Maizumi, wrapped up in a blanket from the front of the stove, as usual, said this in a disappointed voice.
要するに何が言いたいわけ？
説明した通りだよ。これからはできるだけ節約していく。
As our supplies were becoming limited, Yomogi started discussing what we should do from this point on. Yuni, still being half asleep, was looking at us drowsily, and Maizumi was being defiant as always. Even so, Yomogi patiently continued his explanation. According to him, the current situation required us to be quite stringent. It's always funny because, okay, I gotta avoid from talking about spoilers. But in Uchikushi's game, all of the characters somehow like always seem to have a connection with one another. There's not one odd character out that doesn't have a connection with other characters. It's weird. All the firewood had already been split, and it was doubtful that it would last until nightfall. And if we continued to keep the lantern turned on all day like we had before, it would run out of fuel by tomorrow. Our remaining food supply was more serious. We'd already reached the bottom of our freeze-dried food, and all that was left were literally emergency rations. Specifically, there were only 2 cans of hardtack and 1 bar of chocolate remaining. That was it. From there, Yomogi began proposing ways we could start rationing our remaining supplies. I became anxious. Yomogi's suggestion is probably right, but it's still this cold even when we're using the stove. If we had to turn it off, just what kind of cold will we have to bear? Moreover, we have a physically weak child in this cabin.
つまり死ねってこと？
Maizumi made a cynical remark.
節約して食べ物も燃料も残したまま凍え死ねってことよね。
前泉、分かってくれよ。
わかるわけないでしょ。
Fine, we'll just eat you instead.
もしかしたら明日にでも助けが来るかもしれないじゃないの。
もしかしたらあと1週間待っても助けは来ないかもしれない。
As Maizumi swallowed her words in irritation, Yomogi talked to her in a calm tone. Look, we won't die from starvation. You don't die from starvation. You can go 20 plus days without eating and be fine. Hell, you can even go, if you just keep drinking water, you could go 60 days, 70 days without food. It would do a number on your body. But you could do it. I'm not recommending it, but I'm saying you could. People have gone that long without eating.
僕も本当はもっと早く救助が来ると思ってたよ。
There's plenty of snow.
だから節約は最小限にしてた。何せ飛行機事故だ。消息を絶った時点で大規模な捜索活動が行われるはずだろう。それなのに救助がやってこない。ひょっとしたら何か不都合があって救助隊が僕らを見つけられないのかも。
何よ不都合って。
それはわからんよ。だが何事も最悪の状況。
Obstruction? Reading like this is being done on purpose?
この場合の最悪の状況とは救助隊の到着がもっと遅れることだが、僕はここにいる4人が少しでも長く生きているために必要なことをしよう。
Maizumi had no rebuttal for that. Clucking her tongue once softly, she fell silent.
無駄だよ。
Uni suddenly mumbled, "Oh no, not this shit again."
僕たちは死んじゃうんだ。
He muttered disinterestedly as if he were some transcendent being. Again, Uni's talking strangely. Goosebumps suddenly formed on my arms. It really felt like there was something strange in Uni's behavior.
1月17日にね。ねえ、ユニ、どうしてそんなこと言うの？
I couldn't help but ask, and then Uni smiled unpleasantly.
新聞に書いてあったじゃん。
He was talking about the fake newspaper dated July 4th, not June 4th.
なんだ
Or was it June 4th? I'm pretty sure it was July 4th. Yomogi smiled bitterly and I let out a laugh mingled with a sigh. On the other hand, Maizumi's eyebrows twitched.
ガキのくだらないジョークに付き合ってる暇はないのよ。
冗談じゃないってば。新聞にちゃんと書いてあるだろ。
はいはい。お子様は黙ってて。
ちもういいよ。
Yuni's lips formed a pout, and he turned away in sudden displeasure. Yomogi cleared his voice once in order to change the atmosphere.
さて、話は戻るんだが、特に食料に関してはいろいろと厄介なことが起こるのもまずいから、僕が管理することにしようと思う。残りの食料の分量や君たちの体調を考えながら、僕が食事を配分するよ。
On hearing that, a scoff escaped Maizumi's lips, and she sneered at Yomogi.
なるほどね。そういうこと。
なんだ？
あんた、独り占めしようって魂胆でしょ。
No.
え？
とぼけるんじゃないわよ。管理するって言っといて、一人でこっそり食べる気ね。私たちには食べ物を回さずに。そりゃ自分が管理するって言いたくなるわ。ああ、私も管理したい。
The message underlying her tone was clear: don't screw with me.
なんでそうなるんだ？
As expected, Yomogi returned her glare. It was a sharp look I would have never imagined coming from the normally lighthearted Yomogi. Maizumi was pushed back by the intensity as well.
全部お見通しなのよ。偉そうに仕切らないでよ。
ここでは僕がリーダーだ。従ってもらう。
勝手に決めないで。誰がいつ決めたっての？
山での経験は僕が一番ある。体力も一番ある。それ以外にどんな理由が必要だ？
ふざけんな。あんたの思い通りにはさせないわよ。
Maizumi really has the vigor to counter Yomogi at any given time. I can't do anything but watch over them nervously. That's what I thought, but all of a
あんた
sudden,
もそう思うよね。
Maizumi touched on the matter a different way.
じゃないでしょ。可愛くぶっちゃって。この男の好きなようにさせる気？
I trust him more than you. Yomogi looked at me, as if intending to decide who was in the right by majority rule. They waited for me to speak. Problem is, we're already on our bad side. And I'm worried about not getting enough good Maizumi points. I have a feeling neglecting her would be bad. But at the same point, I think she's fucking dumb. No, fuck her. I think Yomogi's right.
私はヨモギさんが正しいと思います。助かりたいのならヨモギさんに従うべきです。
A snort of discontent came from Maizumi's nose.
何？この男に取り入ろうっていうの？
私はただ
前から思ってたけど、あんたたちってずいぶん仲良さそうじゃない？できてんの？
まゆずみさん、いくらなんでも失礼。
うるさい。
Maizumi didn't listen to any of my
二
words.
人でグルになって何企んでんのよ。
Oh my gosh. It's no good. Being driven into a corner in such a dire situation, Maizumi was beginning to see suspicious going-ons everywhere. She wouldn't believe anyone now. Like this, whatever we say will be useless.
まゆずみ、落ち着いてくれ。君がそんな態度を続けるなら、こっちもそれ相応の手段に出なきゃいけなくなる。
Maizumi gulped and began to tremble. Turning blue, she took a step back.
何それ？殺す気？
With a disturbingly unusual atmosphere for him, Yomogi took a single step towards Maizumi. An alarm went off inside my heart. There's no way he would, I thought, but Yomogi, what are you...
前にも言ったはずだ。雪山ではたった一人の勝手な行動がチーム全体を死に追いやると。もしも君がバカな真似を続けるなら、僕はチームを守るために個人を切り捨てる。
それ脅し？
脅しじゃないさ、ルールだ。
Quietly, from that feeling of forcible oppression hanging in there, I felt the vaguest sense of something terrible in Yomogi. If he was seriously planning on executing the rule he just mentioned, I wouldn't be able to oppose him either. Because there was nothing that would keep him from enforcing this rule against Maizumi.
ふざけんな！
Without noticing my anxiety at all, Maizumi exploded.
あんたが一番危ないじゃねえか。
Her face flushing crimson, she clings onto the same argument recklessly. Her thin hand struck Yomogi's broad chest. The moment Yomogi staggers, a cup on the table falls with a loud noise. The chilled coffee in it was thrown to the floor.
やめて、喧嘩はダメだよ。
Just as bad. Like this, things between us will only get more and more awkward. Even though this team's harmony is essential for survival. Oh my gosh.
やめてください。
I shouted. Oh. I didn't think that was gonna work. Stop her physically. Seeing Mayuzumi tried to grab a hold of Yomogi, I made a move.
やめてください。
うるさい、どいて。
Mayuzumi tried to violently shake off my extended hand. Even so, I stepped between Yomogi and Mayuzumi undiscouraged. This is what I wanted to do. Her agitation unabated, Mayuzumi didn't try to stop me from rushing in. Finally, she begins pulling my hair. Tears started to form from the pain.
どきなさいって。
ダメです。
I clung to Mayuzumi. It was frantic.
なんなのよあんた。離せ。
Trying to calm Mayuzumi took terrible effort. Times like this, I wish I was inside his body, I thought.
真由
何よ。
In a flash, Yomogi's hand moved and slapped Mayuzumi across the cheek. Mayuzumi's movements came to a stop. Quietly, I took a peek at Mayuzumi's facial expressions. Pressing a hand to her reddened cheek, she stands there dumbfounded.
すまない。
While staring at the hand that he slapped her with, Yomogi apologized. However, he continues in a strong tone.
だがな、こんな時にわがままはやめてくれよ。命がかかってるんだ。
Frustrated, she bit her lip and turned her face away. Just like that, she quietly walked toward the bed and wrapped herself up, her back to us.
くそ。
Mayuzumi's shoulders
分か
trembled.
ってくれよ、真由僕はみんなのことを考えて言ってるんだ。
In the end, the management of food supply was entrusted to Yomogi. As for me, I didn't really intend to object. Yomogi is an expert at handling snowy mountains, so entrusting this to him would be the best choice. If we follow him, the chances of us surviving will be higher. I told myself that, but something was giving me a vague sense of unease. Why is it? I looked over my surroundings. His face grim, Yomogi's stare was fixed on the blaze as he stirred the flames inside the stove. Yuni was crying, trying to stifle his sobs. His teddy bear clutched on his arms, creaked as though crying together with him, and Mayuzumi with her back to us had covered herself with a blanket from her head down. The blanket faintly trembled. It was a savage, unbearable atmosphere. Though it had never been perfect in this situation that had more or less been alright until now had just suddenly gone to hell. In such a state, are we really going to survive and then return alive? Please, I closed my eyes and prayed. Please, someone hurry and save us. Alright. I'm gonna save there. I'm gonna load. I'm gonna see what happens with this.
一理あると思います。確かによもぎさんが一番山に詳しいですが、私たち話し合ってリーダーを決めたわけじゃないですから。
Hearing my words, Mayuzumi laughed in triumph.
そうでしょ。あんたぼんやりしてると思ったけど、結構わかってるじゃない。やっぱり女同士通じるとこがあるのね。
Fuck off. With an extremely happy smile, she pointed at
こ
Yomogi.
んな男にリーダー面されたって迷惑なだけなのよ。
Her words began to show
だ
arrogance.
いたいね、こんな時にリーダーになりたいなんてやつは怪しいのよ。何か企んでるに違いないわ。
だったらどうすればいいんだ。
信じられるのは私だけ。そうだわ。私が食料を管理してあげる。
I like this even less. Yomogi's eyes went wide at her proposal. Yuni's mouth opened and closed speechlessly.
なんでリンがそんなこと何か知識でもあるの？
心外ね。よもぎさんが山に詳しいというように、私は法律に詳しいの。弁護士の見習いだから。
弁護士？てっきりただの OL かと思ってたのに。
OL は OL でもオフィシャルロイヤー、国選弁護人。ここでは私が法律よ。
Mayuzumi puffed out her chest, an expression full of self-confidence.
それ本当ですか？
何よ、疑うの？ でもね、本当のことよ。法律について語ってあげましょうか。伊達に六法全書丸暗記してないわよ。
わかった。それじゃあ僕と黛どちらに食料を任せるか
I like this a
投
lot
票しよう
better.
じゃないか。その決定には従ってくれるんだな、黛。
いいわ。
それじゃあまず
This is 10 times better than before. Yomugi took a peek at Yuni's
ど
face.
ちらに食料を任せる。
決まってるじゃん、聖司だよ。トンビに油揚げ預けるバカはいないって。
Annoyed, Maizumi glared at Yuni. Yuni ran behind Yomogi and hid his shadow, sticking at his
そ
tongue.
れじゃあ、あんたはどうなのよ。
Maizumi pointed at me. She continued her tone
あ
forceful.
んたは私に食べ物預けたいでしょ。私はこんな男よりも冷静な判断で食料を生き残るためには私に管理させるべきだわ。
Again, you don't need food for... Put it this way. This whole food argument is irrelevant if you're all going to die in 3 days. You can live for... Even a person of like a little underweight can survive like at least 30 days without food.
私は
I want to save here because this definitely feels a lot better. What happens if we're tied?
私は黛さんに任せたいと思います。心どうしちゃったの？それ本気で言ってる？
Yuni raised his voice to a shrill pitch. Yomogi too looked at me, an expression on his face that seemed to say, "How unexpected." Maizumi cried out in delight and embraced my
そう
shoulders.
こなくっちゃ。
But it's
やっ
tied,
ぱ女同士分かり合えるわね。
with an expression as though she would start licking up her lips at any moment. Maizumi picked the rations up the tabletop as if they were possessions. As he did, Yomogi seized her hand.
まだ一票ずつ入っただけだ。君が管理すると決まったわけじゃない。
Maizumi reluctantly tossed the food back onto the table. A can of biscuits rolled across the table.
なあ、冬川さん、どうして彼女に食料を任せたいと思ったんだ？
それはよもぎさんの負担を軽くしたかったから。
僕の？
はい、よもぎさんはろくに眠りもせずに火の番もしてくれています。さらに加えてみんなの食料にまで気を配るなんてオーバーワークじゃないですか。
それほど苦ではないが。
それに黛さんも一緒に遭難した仲間なんです。彼女にも責任ある仕事をしてもらった方がなんというか連帯感が出るような気がして。
Finally, Kokoro making some actual
コ
points.
コロンはリンを信じられるっていうの？
Looking at my lap, I thought to myself for a little and then answered in a soft voice.
信じるよ。
Really, there's also a part of me that doesn't, because I've seen her selfish behavior myself several times. But I always held the feeling that I have to believe. Yomogi, who was listening to my explanation with his arms folded, placed her rations in front of Maizumi.
分かった。食料は黛にお願いしよう。
Look how well that went.
分かったわ。
Maizumi meekly accepted the rations. She carefully places them in her
あな
bag.
たたちの健康状態を考えて分配するわ。心配しないで。
From that appearance, it really didn't seem like she was trying to monopolize it all for herself at all. That's what I wanted to believe.
これでいいのよ。
I muttered softly as if trying to persuade myself. It would be good if this could improve the strained atmosphere even a little bit. Maizumi jumped into her bed and hid her bag underneath the blanket. At that time, her expression was a vulgar grin.
ココロン大丈夫よ。信じよう。
While smiling in response to Yuni's face clouded with worry, I couldn't help but pray inside my heart. I don't like this either. I'm going back to 32. I want Yomogi to have it. And I don't want a huge fight to break out.
私はよもぎさんに任せたいです。彼がリーダーだと思ってますから。
あんた、私にも一理あるって言ってた。裏切る気？
いえ、ここでよもぎさんがリーダーだってきちんと決めておきたかったん
Yes,
です。
good.
みんなで一丸となって耐え抜きましょう。いぎなーし。
Yuni applauded. Yomogi leaned his body against the
こ
table.
れで決まったな。僕の決定には従ってくれるんだったよな。
くっそ。
Cursing, Maizumi grabbed a hold of the nape of my neck.
なんなのよあんた、私の味方じゃなかったの？
Faltering at her forcefulness, I opened my mouth.
私はみんなが生き残るために。
私だって生き残るために知恵を出してやろうって言ったじゃない。それを無にしようってわけ。
そういうつもりじゃん。
A snort of discontent came from Maizumi's nose.
前から思ってたけど、あんたたちってずいぶん仲良さそうじゃない？できてんの？
まゆずみさん、いくらなんでも失礼。
This is the same thing as before.
うるさい。
Maizumi didn't intend to listen to my
二
words.
人でグルになって何企んでんのよ。
Useless. Forgetting herself in her anger, Maizumi was beginning to see suspicious going-ons everywhere. Like this, whatever we say will be
あ
useless.
ゆずみ、落ち着いてくれ。君がそんな態度を続けるなら、こっちもそれ相応の手段に出なきゃいけなくなる。
Maizumi gulped and began to tremble. So this is... I think this is the same thing as... Yeah, this is the same thing as before. So we really only have two options. $33 is the one I think I want. That's where Maizumi has the food. Honestly, even if she takes all the food, what's she gonna do? I mean, we can survive without food. $32 is... I want to see what happens if I shout it.
ダメだ、ここでけ。
邪魔なんで。
Oh.
ユニ。
This looks to be the same
だから
thing.
命がか
She
分かって僕は
rages and so we have either everybody it's either terribly tense and unease or it's we risk her running away with the food. But again, I don't think this has any sense of realism in it. We can survive without food. Closing my eyes, I pray. Please, someone hurry and save us. Afterward. I think this is the right one. Is this the right one? Yomogi broke the table with an axe. The stockpile of firewood in the storeroom had finally run out. The table which he'd placed food on and eaten at several times before was being transformed into firewood.
なんだか寂しいね。
I nod at Yuni's
で
words.
も、生きていくためには仕方がないよ。
Yomogi piled the broken table up in front of the stove.
テーブルと棚を全部薪にしても明日の朝まで持つかと。
Maizumi had only ever sat around in bed and given out orders, let out a shrill scream. So basically Maizumi, even if we vote Yomogi as leader, it doesn't even matter because she hates him.
何よそれ。外に木が生えてたじゃない。あれ切ってきなさい。
生木が燃えるかよ。もし無理に燃やせば僕たちはいぶされて死んでしまう。
それじゃどうする気？
君の嫌いな節約をして過ごすしかない。
After food, it's fuel. Having enough of quarreling, I was afraid Maizumi was about to get angry. However, Maizumi didn't complain any further, instead choosing to wrap herself up in her blanket. It was bright outside the window. It was more or less warmer than night because the sun was still shining. However, when night falls, the mountain will become hell. Yomogi had said so.
脅すわけじゃないが、冬山の寒さってのは正真正銘かけねなしの死神だ。
The Grim Reaper is waiting outside the cabin with his scythe in hand. With night coming on, with the fire on the verge of burning out, with her physical strength running short. We haven't switched in a while. After that, several hours passed. We haven't switched in a while. Oh. Where now? Let's see if we're still alive. What the fuck? Before I knew it, I was kneeling atop the snow. This was Sphia. I was at the wall that surrounded Sphia. Looks like I jumped again. You can see Utsumi's back going further away from a distance. She was walking toward the building. What was Satoru doing out here with Utsumi? Cold. I wanted to return to my room quickly. I stood up and ran to catch up to Utsumi.
Utsumi-san! Matte kudasai! Modoru nara, issho ni modorimashou yo!
Utsumi suddenly stopped walking and turned around. My heart stopped. There was something that could be called an expression on her face. She looked at me with eyes that appeared as if they were staring at a rock that had rolled out into the side of the road. I'd never seen Utsumi like this before. Just, what did Satoru do? Get in the way? What is she talking about? Her voice had a sinister resonance as if resounding from the bottom of hell itself.
ちょっと待ってください。私、サトルと何かあったんですか？喧嘩とか。
Utsumi narrowed her eyes and stared at me.
その口調、冬川さん？
ええ、そうですけど。そうだったの。
Utsumi's expression softened. I was little bit of relieved. And at the same time, doubts crossed my mind once again. Shit is getting insane. I repeated my question from before. Utsumi pushed my back and urged me to return to my room. Utsumi and I walked shoulder to shoulder. During that time, we didn't speak. For some reason, an awkward atmosphere was flowing between us, as I thought something did happen after all. I couldn't ask what it was. Somehow I felt that it was a very private matter. That's why I tried to change. After an almost lonely expression crossed her face, as I thought Utsumi and Yomogi were married. I have met him. I'm still talking with him even now. I felt like I could tell her that. However, that would have only brought her sadness. I tried asking something else. Utsumi slowly shook her head. Oh. She said it so painfully, but her face once again broke into a warm smile. Utsumi wrapped her arms around my head and hugged me, as if embracing her own child, a strong and gentle embrace. Utsumi's scent was soft and sweet, making me feel dizzy. After letting go of my body, Utsumi's tone became cheerful, as if her mood had improved. Wait. But then this would mean Inabushi Keiko, aka Hotori, killed her son. We were in front of the entrance before I knew it. So saying, Utsumi's figure disappeared ahead into the building. At that moment, I finally noticed that for some reason Utsumi was barefoot. Frostbitten by the cold snow, her ankles swelling and turned deep red. Something was happening somewhere I didn't know about. I just had that feeling. I returned to my room and ventilated it just as Utsumi had said. I I throw open the window, cold air rushes in the room. Unintentionally, I begin to shudder. I confirmed the time, 4:06 p.m. About 10 minutes had passed from the time the transfer took place until I reached the room, so... Current transfer occurred at 3:56 p.m. Sitting on the bed, I heaved a deep sigh.
こんな偶然ってあるの？
No. Oh no, not this creepy shit. A man with whom I flew on the same plane and with whom I experienced the accident, Yomogi Seiji. The woman I met while experiencing a mysterious phenomenon of the personality exchange, Utsumi Kali. Amazingly, the two of them were married. Was this simply a coincidence? I didn't think this was something that could be explained away by chance, but rather due to a larger force at work. It felt like something was going to happen, as if someone was plotting everything. But who was that someone? Was it God? Incidentally, I've heard something like this before. The primordial age, when there was no life on Earth, there were only soups of amino acids in the oceans, which were the origins of life. Before long ago, those amino acids began to chain together, and before long, those amino acids began to chain together, and thus life was born. However, even if they tried to recreate the conditions of the original ocean inside a test tube, it seems that as far as the creation of life is concerned, it never goes very well. It's said that the creation of life by the unit of drifting amino acids occurred by the coincidence of astronomical probability. What, 1000 to 1, just like the phone? The explanation of the incident of the scientist who had introduced this left people with a strange impression of him. If we assume that God exists, then it may be that the one who gave birth to life by assembling these amino acids should be thought of as God. The phenomenon that I'm experiencing right now may have been a probability of occurring as low as the beginning of life itself. However, I can't think of this as coincidence, as being caused by anything other than someone's deliberate actions. Not only because of the coincidence of Yomogi and Utsumi being married, but because the coincidences keep occurring one after another. The son from Yomogi's marriage, Junichi, was killed 2 years earlier by Inubushi Keiko. Now Inubushi Keiko is right here, in Sofia, living alongside Utsumi. For those coincidences to continue, it would just be too sad, I thought. Utsumi thinks that girl is Suzukage Hotori, believing that she dedicated herself to taking care of her. But what would Utsumi think if she knew that she was Inubushi Keiko, the target of her dead son's grudge? As if deflating my chest, I let out a deep breath. If God exists, then I'm being so cruel. And it's an innocently ignorant cruelty, like that of a child who catches insects to pull their legs off. Here I am, praying that Utsumi doesn't realize that Suzukage Hotori is really Inubushi Keiko. When she does find out, I don't know what will happen, but there's no mistake it'll be disastrous. By the way, here's what I think. I don't really think there's any mistaking that Suzukage Hotori is really Inubushi Keiko. Hotori was one of the DID personalities that dwelled within Inubushi Keiko. I think that's been proven by her testimony. She used the metaphor of dark room, and there were occasions where other personalities had appeared, so there's no two ways about it. It's just that in Inubushi Keiko's case, except for the original personality in Suzukage Hotori, I don't know the name of the other personalities. Because her current personality hasn't told me her name, it's difficult to guess. I can only deduce it from her behavior. Moreover, her DID personality changes aren't signaled by any actions and occur abruptly. The same as what Yuni told me about the instant I returned from Yukido Satoru's body to Fukawa Kokuro's. There's no alternation whatsoever. My throat is getting really dry. I'm gonna get some water. We'll be right back. returned to my water. To confirm a personality change from outward appearance alone is difficult. I don't think I've met any of the personalities except the one named Hotori, but in reality there may have been a period when she was Itabushi Keiko, and I've already met the personality of the murderous monster that killed Junichi without realizing it. There's even a possibility that the personality of the murderer will go unnoticed until the moment it attacks someone. I looked at my left arm that had been injured by someone and shuddered. It was at that instant.
Satoru, ちょっといい?
Yuni's head popped out from behind the door. He was wearing an amiable smile. Oh no.
どうして窓なんか開けてるの? 寒いじゃん.
He quickly jumped to the window and shut it with great force. Rubbing his hands together, he shivered slightly.
どうかしたの? 何か用? ラジオのことなんだけどさ。何か気になることでもあった?
The smile on Yuni's face was replaced by a troubled expression.
その口調って、今は心なの? まあいいか。もしも悟の中にいるのが本当に心だったら関係あるってどういうこと?
Yuni moved next to me on the bed, sitting close enough for her shoulders to touch. He showed me the radio.
さっきからラジオ聞いてるんだけど、おかしいんだ。どこが? 僕が飛行機で落っこちたのって4日前なんだけど、もっとニュースでやっててもいいはずなのに。
What?
全然放送してないの?
4 days ago? So we're on the same time? Yuni switched the radio on. She twisted the tuning knob. The song started to flow from the radio. It was a popular singer's hit song from the Red and White Song Contest at the end of last year, 2010.
さっきから1時間以上聞いてるのに、ずっとこんな感じなんだよ。いろんなラジオ局聞いてみたけど、大体同じ。飛行機事故って大事件なんだから、もっと放送してもいいはずだよ。それって変だね、でしょ?
An airplane accident is a big deal. You'd think they'd broadcast more about it on the news. And of course 4 days had passed since the incident occurred. It's an event that's likely to be all over the news. They shouldn't have found a single survivor yet. Obviously because we were still in the shelter cabin. However, the news that has yet to even touch upon it, so what does this mean? Annoyed, Yuni shut off the radio. He thinks it's been 4 days. It's been a year and 4 days for him, probably. He's probably in shock. I bit my lip lightly.
テレビもね、墜落事故のニュースやってないの?
There's a TV in the living
違
area.
うよ。あのテレビ、変な映像しか映らないんだ。川のせせらぎとか、森の中で小鳥がピーチクとか、変なお坊さんがありがたいお話してくれたりとかね。なんだよあれ。全然役に立たないし。
Now that he mentions it, I feel like it was the same when I tried it yesterday. Whenever it was going on, it suddenly dawned on me. This was SFIA, the Specified Psychiatric Hospital for Isolation in Aegis. They probably don't show regular broadcasting in order to prevent mentally ill patients from becoming overstimulated. They show environmental broadcasting in order for them to not feel confined even when shut in by the snow for the winter. Would being preached to by a priest do an unruly patient any good? Yuni impatiently stared at the radio.
心のこと知りたかったの。
The Kokoron that he mentioned didn't refer to me. He was probably worried about the well-being of the Fuyakaga Kokoro trapped at the shelter cabin. I tried asking Yuni once
ユニ
again.
は飛行機事故のこと覚えてるんだよね。忘れたくても忘れられないよ。事故が起きたのはいつのこと?
Wearing a slightly unpleasant expression, Yuni answered my questions.
2011年1月11日だよ。一応は心のつもりなんでしょ。当たり前のこと聞かないでよね。
Instead of angrily,
病気だかなんだか知らないけど 僕は本気で心を心配してるんだよ。僕を惑わせないでよね。
Spitting out those words on a piece like a piece of gum that had lost its flavor, Uni turned on his heel and walked away. He left the room, not responding to my call. It's annoying. He was really worried about me. That much was certain. The Uni that was just here was, without a doubt, the same one that rode beside me on the airplane. The same one that was beside me when it crashed.
私だって忘れてないよ。
Certain that I was gripping Uni's hand inside the airplane as it crashed. Even though I can still clearly remember the feelings of his small hand trembling in mine. The Uni from before and I both experienced a plane crash together on January 11, 2011. So what does this mean? Did the Uni from before, the Uni at Svea, jump here right after the accident? If so, who's the Uni presently at the shelter cabin? After thinking it over for a while, I reached a single hypothesis.
やっぱり人格交換してるんだ。
I don't think so. On the second day, even though I talked about what foods I liked in Svea, the Uni at the shelter cabin knew them. From that, I deduced that Uni was undergoing personality changes as well, or maybe teleportation. However, at that time, I didn't know that the time periods between Svea and the shelter cabin were different, so that deduction was abandoned, but in regards to Uni, when considering the difference in time periods, I thought the complexity and tangled thread had more or less begun to unwind. Putting aside the radio and newspaper for now, you can guess the year from people's testimonies. At Svea, the ones who said it was the year 2011 were Hotori and Uni. However, it feels like I can discard those two testimonies. Hotori, Yunorishi Keiko has the ID, so it's possible she isn't aware of what year it is. Okay, this is exactly the opposite of what you were saying before. Before you were saying, oh, we can discard the 2012 people. Now you're saying, oh, we can discard the 2011 people. After all, there's even a child's personality dwelling inside her. It wouldn't be odd for her sense of what year it is to be off. And then there's Uni. From the conversation with him before, I can't think of any other explanation than him transferring here from the accident. And therefore his statement that it was the year 2011 is a given. The statements from Satoru and Utsumi that this year is 2012 are correct. If you exclude the radio and the broadcast it being 2011 and the newspaper, that information about the future written on it, in the world of Svea it's 2012, in the world of the shelter cabin it's 2011, is what it means. Satoru and I are under the impression that our two personalities are jumping through time and space in our exchange. And on top of that, might Uni's personality be exchanging as well? Unlike us, the 2012 Uni and the Uni from right after the plane crash were being exchanged, switching back and forth into the same body of Kusada Uni.
あれ、こんがらがってきた。ちょっと整理してみよう。
Let's try to trace Uni's movements. First off, Uni was caught up in an airplane crash on January 11, 2011. However, I didn't know when, but he was saved somehow. What was the cause and effect that brought the rescued Uni to Svea, and passing through into the year 2012? And this is where it gets complicated, but the future Uni at Svea in 2012 and the past Uni that survived the plane crash in 2011 are switching between one another. Right now, the Uni here at Svea in the year 2012 is the Uni immediately following the plane crash. And the Uni at the shelter cabin right now can be otherwise referred to as the future Uni. So after the plane crash, Uni split one into one that was at 2012, or that stayed in 2011 in the shelter cabin, the other one that somehow went through time and space in 2012, and still thinks it's been only 4 days when it's been a year and 4 days. That was that's the conclusion I've been led to through this too. I don't know what the fuck is going on though, so
ちょっと待って。私たちは何度も人格を交換してるのに、どうしてユニは一度だけなの？
No, I didn't know if it was only once yet. However, it didn't appear that their personality change happened very frequently.
人格交換のルールがいまいちよくわかんないな。
What an irritating feeling. This is probably what they call the feeling of chewing on sand. However, even though I don't know the rules of the personality exchange, there's one thing I do know.
スフィアは12年、 避難小屋は11年って考えるのが一番スマートだよね。
I agree. The contradiction with the newspaper and radio has yet to be settled, but I should make sure to keep in mind that Svea is in 12 and the cabin is in 11. So with that decided, what should I do now?
ユニに聞いてみるのが。
I decided to ask whether he was the future Uni that had transferred there once I got back to the shelter cabin. Oh. We transferred. I am... Beginning of Evo collapse. Oh, jeez. Well, I'm exhausted. It's late for me. And I have to be up early tomorrow morning, so I'm gonna call it here. But, guys, thanks for watching. This has been Remember 11 Part 4. Until next time, Part 5. See you guys.